Welcome to the Total Wellness Solutions Academy online radio network. I'm Dave, and our mission is simple. We help families make informed decisions that strengthens their overall financial well-being.
This is the brief on vertical integration and the true cost of everyday products. Before diving into today's full lesson, get ready for the ultimate eye-opener. Are you actually paying for the quality of your groceries, or are you just funding the hype? First, we need to look at the 63% factor. In traditional retail, a whopping 63 cents of every single dollar you spend on national brands is totally wasted on non-product expenses like flashy advertising, premium retail shelf space, and up to 11 different middlemen markups. It's literally like buying a premium sandwich, but realizing you mostly just paid for the wrapper and the delivery truck. Second, the real fix here is vertical integration, which just means a company controls the entire product journey from the factory straight to your front door. The Total Wellness Solutions Academy champions this exact model by manufacturing right here in the US and selling direct to consumer, which absolutely solves the nightmare of overseas shipping delays and that dreaded empty shelf syndrome we've all faced. Finally, let's talk about what this means for your family budget. Because vertically integrated companies save so much on marketing, they can invest 52 cents per dollar right back into the actual ingredients, compared to just a measly 37 cents in traditional retail. To put that into perspective, this extra investment yields higher quality, safer ingredients, and super concentrated formulas, like making your laundry detergent 9 or 12 times stronger, giving you way better value per use. By controlling the whole process, this model guarantees your hard-earned money actually goes into the product itself, perfectly setting the stage for the deep dive conversation coming up next.
Now let's welcome our guests, Alex and Emma. What a fascinating topic we have today. Take it away, you guys.
So I want you to think about the total at the bottom of your last grocery receipt.
Oh, that's a painful thought for a lot of people right now.
Right. I mean, just picture that final number for a second. But what if I told you that you didn't actually pay for the products in your cart?
You're paying for something else entirely.
Exactly.
Right.
What if you mostly just paid for the privilege of, being sold to?
It's a crazy concept.
It really is. So welcome to this deep dive presented by the Total Wellness Solutions Academy. I'm your host, and joined by my fellow senior faculty member. Our mission today is to, look under the hood of a structural business principle.
One that directly dictates the quality, the safety, and honestly, the true cost of every single item you bring into your home.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is a genuinely jarring realization when you finally see the math behind it. I mean, knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and applied, right?
Yeah.
So today, we are dissecting the mechanics of how things actually reach your front door. Our sources for this analysis include an academic brief on business fundamentals, an executive summary focusing on consumer value, and a real-world case study of a specific wellness company.
Right, a really fascinating stack of research today.
It is. We are exploring a concept called vertical integration and unpacking how the way a business is structured behind the scenes completely alters your physical reality as a consumer.
But I feel like to really grasp why vertical integration is so powerful, we kind of have to look at the alternative first, right?
We have to look at the status quo of the grocery aisle.
Right, because the traditional retail model is something we are also accustomed to, that it feels like gravity. I mean, you walk into a big box store, you see a familiar, brightly colored box on the shelf, you put it in your cart and you swipe your cart.
It's totally automatic.
Exactly. But the academic brief in our stack points out a staggering inefficiency in that seemingly simple transaction. It highlights what they call the 63% factor.
The 63% factor. This is where it gets wild.
It really does. So in traditional retail, on average, 63 cents of every single dollar you spend on a national brand product is entirely wasted on overhead. Like overhead that does literally nothing to improve the actual product you're buying.
Right. And when we say wasted, we mean it structurally.
Yeah.
Those 63 cents do not make the formula safer for your family.
Right. It's not going into better ingredients.
No, not at all. They don't increase the efficacy of the product. They just vanish into this massive, largely invisible ecosystem of retail architecture.
So where does it actually go?
Well, we're talking about colossal national advertising budgets, television commercials, celebrity endorsements.
Oh, sure. Paying some actor millions of dollars to hold a bottle of shampoo.
Exactly. And then you have the physical logistics. So wholesale distribution, warehousing, and these exorbitant fees paid to retailers just to secure a premium spot on the shelf.
Like getting it at eye level.
Right. You literally have to pay the store for that eye-level placement.
The brief actually breaks down the chain of custody, and this part just blew my mind. It mentions that a single product can pass through up to 11 different middlemen before it ever reaches your hand.
11.
Up to 11. When you think about it, you have a raw materials broker, right? And they sell to an ingredient processor.
Who obviously needs to make a profit.
Right, so they mark it up, and then they sell to a contract manufacturer. Then the finished product goes to a national distributor who hands it off to a regional wholesaler.
And it just keeps going.
Yeah, the regional wholesaler sells it to a local jobber who ships it to the retail distribution center, which eventually puts it on a truck to the actual store.
And every single one of those entities is marking up the price to take their cut.
Every single one.
It is a chain of cascading markups. Now, the system wasn't necessarily designed to be malicious.
Right, it's just how it evolved.
Exactly. It evolved historically as a way to distribute goods across vast geographical areas, before the internet and modern logistics even existed.
Sure, back when you needed 100 local guys with trucks.
Right. But the consequence today is that the manufacturer at the very beginning of that chain is severely constrained. If they know their product has to be marked up 11 times, they have to produce it for literally pennies on the dollar just so it remains affordable by the time it hits the retail shelf.
It reminds me of going to one of those really high-end, trendy farm-to-table restaurants downtown.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine you order this premium $25 sandwich.
Sounds great.
Right. It arrives, you take a bite, only to realize the ingredients themselves are completely mediocre. Like the bread is stale, the meat is cheap. They probably cost $2 to make.
Oh, I've been to that restaurant.
We all have.
Yeah.
And you realize you didn't pay for a premium sandwich. You paid for the restaurant's expensive downtown lease. You paid for the fancy marketing campaign that convinced you to walk in the door. And the massive delivery truck idling in the alley out back.
Yep. The product itself was just an afterthought to the overhead. That captures the dynamic perfectly. And applying that math to your own household budget completely shifts the paradigm. Because if 63 cents of your dollar goes to that metaphorical downtown lease and the delivery truck, well, that leaves a maximum of 37 cents.
37 cents?
Yeah, 37 cents that is actually invested in the raw materials, the safety testing, and the manufacturing of the product you are taking home to your family.
So for every dollar I spend, barely over a third is buying the thing I actually need.
Barely a third.
The rest is just paying off the friction of the retail system.
Yes, the friction. That's a great way to say it.
That means a traditional manufacturer simply cannot afford to put premium, highly concentrated ingredients into the bottle. Their margins are already eaten alive by all those middlemen.
Exactly. They are trapped by their own distribution model. They have to rely on synthetic fillers, cheaper, harsh chemicals, and just excess water simply to bulk up the product and hit their required profit margins.
Right. They just add water to make the bottle look bigger on the shelf.
Which brings us to the structural alternative.
Yeah.
Because there is a completely different way to build this engine, and it's a business principle known as vertical integration.
Okay, let's strip the corporate jargon away from that term for a second. Vertical integration.
Sure.
If traditional retail is relying on a dozen different independent companies to handle every single step of the process, vertical integration is the exact opposite.
Right.
It's when a single company decides to own, manage, or directly control multiple stages of a product's journey. They take on all that responsibility internally. Essentially, they become their own ecosystem.
Yeah, and business researchers usually divide this strategy into two distinct directions: backward integration and forward integration.
Okay, let's unpack those.
So backward integration means moving backward up the supply chain to gain control over your suppliers.
Got it.
Instead of relying on a third-party vendor who might suddenly, spike their prices or lower their quality standards, a vertically integrated company might outright purchase the ingredient supplier. Yeah, or they might build their own raw material processing facility from scratch.
Okay, so it's like a chef who gets tired of dealing with unreliable vegetable suppliers, so they just buy the farm behind the restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they control the exact quality of the soil. They know exactly what's going into the food. No surprises.
That is a fantastic way to visualize it. You own the starting line, which guarantees unparalleled quality control.
Okay, so that's backward integration. What about forward?
Forward integration, on the other hand, means moving closer to the customer. You move forward down the supply chain.
Bypassing the middlemen.
Right. So instead of handing your finished goods over to that gauntlet of wholesalers and retail stores, the company builds a direct-to-consumer model. They bypass the physical retail store entirely, they operate their own fulfillment centers, and they sell directly to the end user.
Like you.
Like you, exactly.
And we see massive global players doing variations of this all the time. Like Apple designs its own silicon chips and software and then sells them in its own branded stores.
Right.
Tesla builds its own batteries, writes its own software, and sells directly to drivers. They completely bypass the traditional dealership model.
Yeah, and Zara is another classic example in the apparel industry.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. By integrating their design, manufacturing, and logistics, they don't have to wait for third-party overseas factories. They can turn a brand new fashion trend into an available physical product in a matter of days.
Wow, days.
Days. Whereas their competitors, using the traditional model, take months.
Okay, but I'm going to put on my skeptic's hat here for a second, because this sounds incredibly utopian.
Fair enough.
If vertical integration gives a company total control over quality, and if it reclaims that 63 cents of wasted retail markup, why doesn't every single brand operate this way?
It's a great question.
I mean, why does traditional retail even exist if this model is so vastly superior for the consumer?
Well, the hesitation is entirely rooted in risk and capital. Vertical integration is not a magic wand. It is brutally difficult to execute, and it carries immense financial exposure.
Because you have to build all that infrastructure yourself.
Exactly. First, think about the initial capital expenditure. Building your own manufacturing facilities, engineering your own proprietary equipment, and establishing this continent-wide network of distribution centers, it requires a staggering upfront investment.
Right.
Traditional companies avoid this by simply renting time at massive contract manufacturing plants overseas.
Oh, okay. So a traditional company has variable costs, whereas a vertically integrated company takes on massive fixed costs.
Precisely the distinction. And the second huge factor is the operational complexity. When a traditional brand launches a new product, they are essentially just a marketing firm.
They don't actually make anything.
Right. They hire a factory in Asia to make it, a logistics firm to ship it, and a retailer to sell it. If consumer trends shift and the product fails, the traditional brand just cancels their contract with the factory. No harm, no foul.
Wow. But if you are vertically integrated and you own the factory and demand drops, you can't just cancel a contract with yourself.
No, you cannot.
You are stuck holding the bag. You have a $50 million empties facility and hundreds of employees on payroll with nothing to do.
And that is why it's so rare. The financial risk rests entirely on the company's shoulders, rather than being distributed among a dozen middlemen.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, that is why most corporations prefer the traditional outsourcing model. It is much safer and easier for the corporation's balance sheet, even though it ultimately results in a watered-down, overpriced product for you, the consumer.
So choosing to vertically integrate requires a company to have absolute, unwavering confidence in the long-term value and loyalty their products will generate.
They have to know their product is so good that people will keep buying it for decades.
It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy that demands a relentless commitment to infrastructure. And I think that sets us up perfectly to look at the real-world case study from our sources.
It really does.
You're listening to the Total Wellness Solutions Academy. We'll return to today's discussion in just a moment. If you're just joining us, thank you for listening. Stay with us as Alex and Emma continue today's conversation right here on the Total Wellness Solutions streaming audio network.
So the executive summary details a wellness company founded in Idaho back in 1985.
And what is remarkable about this specific manufacturer is how aggressively they adopted both backward and forward integration to entirely rewrite the mathematical reality for the consumer.
Let's revisit that traditional retail math for a second.
Okay, yeah.
63 cents wasted on hype and middlemen, leaving barely 37 cents for the actual product.
Right. So by building a direct-to-consumer model and bypassing those 11 middlemen, the retail shelf space fees, and the national advertising campaigns, this manufacturer reclaims those wasted dollars.
And here's where the structural choice directly benefits you, the listener, because they don't just pocket that reclaimed money as excessive corporate profit.
No, they don't.
They redirect it straight back into the physical product. Our sources show that instead of investing 37 cents per dollar, this direct-to-consumer model invests 52 cents per dollar into the manufacturing process, the raw materials, and the ingredient quality.
52 cents compared to 37 cents.
And now a 15-cent difference on a single dollar might not sound like an earth-shattering number in casual conversation.
Sure, it sounds like pocket change.
But in the realm of global manufacturing economics, a 15% shift in raw material investment is monumental.
It is massive. When compounded across millions of units, that extra capital fundamentally alters the class of product you are capable of engineering.
It buys you out of the trap of cheap synthetic fillers.
Yes.
It allows for rigorous research and development.
It is an absolute matter of survival in a direct-to-consumer model.
Really? Survival.
Yes. Think about it. When a company chooses not to sell in a grocery store, they lose all the benefits of impulse buying. You can't rely on a customer just throwing your product into their cart because it had a flashy label at eye level.
Because there is no shelf. There's no neon sign.
Exactly. And because of that, the only way the company survives is if the product performs so undeniably well that a customer actively seeks it out, orders it online, and then tells their neighbor about it.
Oh, I see.
If the product is just average, the word-of-mouth engine completely dies. Therefore, the direct-to-consumer model structurally forces the manufacturer to use that 52-cent advantage to procure vastly superior, safer ingredients.
So the quality isn't just like a nice bonus for the consumer.
Yeah.
It is the fundamental engine of their marketing.
That is exactly it. It completely flips the script.
In traditional retail, the marketing sells the product. In this model, the product is the marketing.
Beautifully said. Yes.
But, what I find most fascinating is how this model solves the visual psychology of the retail shelf.
Oh, this is such an important point.
Because in a traditional big box store, brands are fighting for physical real estate. They want the biggest, most neon-colored plastic jug possible. Because if their bottle is small, the competitor's giant bottle will completely overshadow it on the shelf.
The retail shelf is a literal visual battlefield. And to make a bottle that massive without going bankrupt, traditional companies have to fill it with the absolute cheapest ingredient on earth.
Which is water.
Water.
Right, so you are lugging home a massive, heavy jug from the store that is mostly just regular tap water.
Yep.
But a vertically integrated direct-to-consumer company isn't fighting for eyeline on a crowded grocery store shelf. They're shipping a box directly to your front porch.
They don't need the physical billboard effect.
Right, and that single structural difference allows them to utilize that 52-cent investment to create highly concentrated, innovative formulas.
And the specific comparisons in the research illustrate this beautifully.
Oh, the numbers here are so good.
Yeah.
Let's look at the laundry detergent example.
Yeah, so because they control the formulation and don't need shelf dominance, they engineered a 9 times concentrated laundry formula. Almost all of the inert water has been removed.
The math here is just undeniable. The brief notes that this 9 times concentrated formula provides 96 loads of laundry for a member price of $18.99.
$18.99.
Right. Now, to get an equivalent 96 loads from a traditional retail competitor, the research uses 2x Ultratide as the benchmark you would spend $25.94.
So you are getting a substantially safer, higher quality formulation and keeping nearly $7 in your own pocket on a single household staple.
$7.
Yeah.
And that concentration principle applies across the board, right?
It does. The sources also highlight a 12 times super concentrated glass cleaner.
12 times?
Yeah. One small bottle costs $6.49. To achieve the exact same amount of cleaning power from the leading traditional brand, Windex, you would need to purchase over 4 full-size bottles, which would cost you $14.52.
So you were paying less than half the price.
Less than half.
This completely demystifies the whole concept for me. Like, vertical integration isn't just dry textbook theory.
No, not at all.
It is the literal mechanical mechanism that allows a company to offer a superior, highly concentrated product for significantly less money per use. It's not corporate magic. It's just a vastly more efficient plumbing system for the business.
It is an intentional structural choice. They chose to eliminate the friction of the middlemen so they could afford to give you the concentration. But, this operational control doesn't just change the liquid inside the bottle.
What do you mean?
It fundamentally changes the entire global footprint of the product. The macro implications here regarding the supply chain, the environment, and the broader economy are profound.
Okay, let's pull on that thread.
Yeah.
Because over the last few years, the vulnerability of the global supply chain has gone from being, an obscure logistical concern to a very real, visceral anxiety for the average consumer.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone has felt it.
Right. And in the traditional model, companies are desperate to offset that 63% retail waste. So they hunt for the absolute cheapest manufacturing costs possible.
Which almost inevitably leads to overseas outsourcing.
Always.
They rely heavily on foreign manufacturing, particularly in regions like China, to exploit cheaper labor and less stringent environmental regulations. But as the academic brief points out, stretching your supply chain thousands of miles across an ocean introduces catastrophic vulnerabilities.
We've all experienced the dreaded empty shelf syndrome recently.
Oh, it's the worst.
You walk down the aisle looking for basic necessities, infant formula, paper goods, cold medicine, and you were just met with bare metal shelving.
Yeah.
It is a terrible feeling of panic when you realize you can't get what your family needs because a container ship is stuck at a port somewhere, or there's a labor strike on the other side of the planet, or global tensions have halted trade entirely.
And even when the products do eventually arrive, the increased transportation costs and those logistical headaches are always passed directly back to you in the form of inflation.
We're paying for their supply chain failures.
Exactly.
You're listening to the Total Wellness Solutions Academy. We'll return to today's final segment in just a moment. Thank you for joining our broadcast. We hope you found this conversation informative, thought-provoking, and worthwhile. Be sure to follow our broadcast and let us know if you have any questions or suggestions for future topics. And now, back to our concluding segment of this program's discussion.
But contrast that overseas dependency with the vertically integrated case study. Because this manufacturer opted for backward integration, they maintain an incredible domestic advantage. The executive summary notes that 99% of their raw materials, ingredients, and packaging are made or sourced right here in North America.
99%.
Yes.
They even brought the manufacturing of their own plastic bottles in-house. That is the ultimate flex of backward integration to me.
It really is.
They aren't waiting on a cargo ship from Asia just to get the empty plastic shells to hold their product. They just mold them right there in the facility.
Right on site. And the environmental impact of that domestic focus is staggering.
How so?
Well, when you remove the water to create concentrated formulas and you manufacture domestically, you are no longer burning fossil fuels to ship heavy, water-filled jugs across the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, right. Shipping water across the ocean makes no sense.
None. Shorter shipping distances from domestic distribution centers, combined with strict adherence to highly enforced EPA regulations, directly translate into cleaner air, cleaner land, and cleaner water.
So you aren't inadvertently subsidizing overseas factories that might have highly questionable or entirely absent environmental and labor practices.
Exactly. And the economic ripple effect is just as compelling. The research points out that every single dollar spent on domestic manufacturing adds $1.33 to the local economy.
Wow, so it actually multiplies.
It multiplies.
Yeah.
Furthermore, statistics show that one domestic manufacturing job creates 5 new jobs in the surrounding community.
Just from the runoff effect.
Right, from local logistics and raw material suppliers to the diners where those factory workers eat lunch. By refusing to outsource their production, this direct-to-consumer model continuously injects capital and stability straight into the domestic economy.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, really. Getting the product from their domestic factory to your front door. Because if I'm bypassing the retail store entirely, I need an ironclad guarantee that the box is actually going to show up when I need it.
Right. And this is where the forward integration truly shines. Because the company controls the entire ecosystem, they don't hand their inventory over to a massive retail distribution network that might deprioritize them.
Right.
They ship from their own strategically placed regional warehouses directly to a localized last-mile carrier, like UPS.
Oh, okay.
This tightly controlled network allows them to get products to most North American customers reliably within 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days. So no empty shelves, no fighting for parking at the big box store, no waiting for a cargo ship to clear customs.
Well,
just a direct, uninterrupted line from the manufacturing facility to your front porch. And Thinking about the sheer scale of all this, the environmental responsibility, the economic multiplier effect, the supply chain reliability, it brings me to what I believe is the ultimate takeaway for you, the listener.
Yeah. Which is...
It all culminates in a profound sense of peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the perfect metric for this, because when a company takes on the massive financial and operational burden of vertical integration, when they actively choose to manufacture domestically and control their own supply chain, you are no longer just buying a bottle of cleaner or detergent.
Right.
You're securing a guarantee.
You are guaranteed that the products you're using on your kitchen counters, the formulas you are washing your family's clothes in, meet the absolute highest North American safety and health standards.
Exactly.
You don't have to stand in the grocery aisle wondering what unregulated factory in what distant country threw this chemical mixture together. The transparency is built into the structure of the business itself.
It really is. So as we synthesize the journey we've taken today, the contrast couldn't be clearer, could it?
Not at all.
We began by uncovering the hidden tax of the traditional retail model. That frustrating reality where the majority of your consumer dollar is squandered on hype, shelf space, and a convoluted army of middlemen.
And we explored how the principles of vertical integration, paired with a direct-to-consumer distribution model, completely invert that mathematical equation.
Right.
By owning the process from the raw materials all the way to the delivery truck, a manufacturer reclaims those wasted dollars and injects them right back into the product,
resulting in safer, highly concentrated, locally manufactured goods that offer measurable financial value.
Yeah.
Products that simply cost less per use, perform better, and bypass the chaos of the global supply chain to arrive reliably at your door. It truly underscores why understanding the architecture of a business isn't just an exercise for academics.
It is intensely practical knowledge. And as faculty here at the Total Wellness Solutions Academy, our goal is to show you why these mechanics matter. Whether you are listening right now as a consumer trying to optimize your household budget and protect your family, or you are listening as a mentor looking to educate others on how to navigate the market, understanding vertical integration empowers you.
It does. It pulls back the curtain.
It gives you the analytical tools to make highly informed choices about where your hard-earned money goes, the types of local economies you are actively supporting, and the true integrity of the products you trust.
You no longer have to blindly accept the structural inefficiencies of the grocery aisle. You actually possess the knowledge to look behind the label and evaluate the engine running the company. And, to that end, I would love to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that builds on our exploration today.
I am always up for a good thought experiment. Lay it on us.
If a vertically integrated company doesn't have to exhaust its resources shouting for your attention on a crowded neon retail shelf, and if they aren't bleeding capital to pay 11 different middlemen, how else might they be quietly innovating behind the scenes?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. What other boundaries of science, wellness, and environmental stewardship are they pushing, simply because they have the freedom and the capital to focus entirely on earning your long-term loyalty?
That is a phenomenal question to chew on. What else becomes possible when a business stops paying for the hype and starts focusing purely on the solution? Well, that wraps up our time for this deep dive. On behalf of the Total Wellness Solutions Academy, thank you for joining us for this conversation. Stay curious, keep looking behind the label, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope today's conversation gave you something worth thinking about. Join us again next time as we continue exploring ideas that help families improve their overall wellness by shopping smarter and building better financial futures. Until then, take care.